wheat is a naturally self-pollinating plant, which means it can replicate itself. It's not the only plant like that, but it's very different from, say, corn, which is a cross-pollinating plant. So since wheat is self-pollinating, we have to make it become cross-pollinating so we can cross it. To do that, we have to first remove the male parts of the head, of the developing head, which means to remove the anthers, or scientifically we call that emasculation. And once we remove the anthers from one plant, we take the pollen or the anthers from another plant and physically place that pollen on now what is the female. So we're producing our females, we're using males to cross those in all combinations. And if you want to look at a very specific situation, here we have an emasculated head of wheat. So you see it looks quite different from the head in its native state. We've taken off a lot of tissue so that we can get down inside the individual parts of the head or the spike. These parts we call the spikelets. And in each spikelet, we are removing all but 2 flowers. And in those 2 flowers, we have removed the male parts, the anthers. So this is now a female parent that we can use to cross with another variety or another germplasm stock. That will be the pollen source. So here you see the result of doing that. This head provided the pollen for this head, which was emasculated. And we always keep those heads covered to prevent pollen from other undesirable parents entering this female. So we control the pollination. We really make wheat do something it's not naturally able to do. However, I must say with an exception, that wheat on occasion can cross-pollinate in the field. And it's that ability, and it's a very low frequency, but it was that ability which created the natural diversity we have in wheat today. Because the wheat that we grow is really the result of a natural crossing event that occurred thousands of years ago between 3 grasses. The last cross, we believe, occurred about 8,000 to 10,000 years ago, which involved the progenitor of durum wheat, which is a relative of bread wheat, and then another grass called goat grass, scientifically called Aegilops toshii. When that hybridization occurred, that produced bread wheat, and it produced a wealth of diversity, which thousands of years later provided the wheat that we grow today. But in that process, humans became reliant on the domestication and evolution of that species that we call bread wheat. A very important part of human civilization. I mean, you really think back and you look at history, human civilization revolved around the evolution and domestication of that species of wheat. Our whole existence depended upon that plant thriving. And now you think about it, now our existence today really depends upon the thriving of that plant, but now we're doing it, we're manipulating that plant in places like this instead of relying on nature to do it. Of course, nature, it takes thousands of years. Here, it takes us 10 years.